Man, I'm ready for some food here. Okay, so like we're hungry, so don't laugh at us. But I think we want some of these Reuben egg rolls.
Okay.
I also think we want to try the pork tostadas.
I think I want the hot honey sprouts.
Ooh, those are good.
That's
But
different.
I have to skip the feta.
Okay, no problem.
Never had that before.
Oh, it's good.
I'll send those to you shortly.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hope it's soon.
So I have been, feel like every few months when I think I've learned this lesson, I'll do a little introspection and I realize, oh no, still learning. I fall into this lie about who really owns our business. Like, is that me or is that God? And I know in my head says God owns my business. I've read the Bible enough to know that's what's true. But I find myself falling into the same trap around, I don't know if it's my need for control or whatever it is, but our name is on the business license. So it's just like, it's a repeated lesson I have to learn.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think we all struggle with it, but I think it rolls all the way back to when the nation of Israel was being formed, when God was first making them into a people.
Yeah, I guess if you think about it, that was a venture. I mean, we do serve an entrepreneurial God, so that was a venture. It was the first nation of its kind, at great risk. Like in Deuteronomy, when he's sort of setting up the nation of Israel, it's like Deuteronomy 10. Let's read it.
I think it's in 10. Is it 10:14? I'm glad we brought a Bible.
10:14. Yeah, well, we always like to dig. So, to the Lord your God belong the heavens, even the highest heavens, the earth and everything in it.
So he's like really stating ownership. He's forming this people of Israel, but like a father, he's taking responsibility. He's not just some kind of like absent landlord or impartial, silent partner, but he says like, I am your God. And I think he's taking ownership, but also I think that implies provision too, He's going to take care of them.
It's kind of funny if you think about Israel. I mean, I think we make a lot of jokes about the Israelites because they're ridiculous, but we're ridiculous. If you think of God as the father and he's taking ownership, but also that implies provision. I mean, Israel, they're like 2-year-olds. Like they want full control.
Yeah.
They're always throwing a fit, but they want full control, but they also want full provision. They want total autonomy, and yet for the Lord to provide everything, even things just that they want, not that they need, which is like pretty much exactly what we do.
Yeah, we live in this tension, right? Of I want to depend on you, but I want to do whatever I want to do. And by the way, God, like I'm the one who walked all the way here from Egypt. And I'm the one who took the risk of stepping into the Red Sea. And I'm the one who's been following this Moses guy, right? So like, it's kind of the battle of the I ams,
Yeah. There is provision in God's ownership, but provision is a complicated thing. So like, how many times have you and I called a season that we're in a manna season so we can complain about it? Like, here's God providing everything they need every single day, literally daily bread. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we're not passively involved. We are still co-creating. And I think that's most of us where we fall into this lie over and over. That's the pitfall. Because, I don't know, it's like when I sit down and color with my girls, I provide the crayons, I provide the coloring page, provide the time. I sit down, sometimes I provide the coloring prompt even. But then they look up at me and they're like, Mom, can I add a tail? And can I color their head purple? And I'm like, sure. Let's see what happens. That sounds fun. Let's color it purple. There's so much room for this dance with God. And we get so caught up in what's the right next step that we forget that this is relational. And that God actually wants our ideas. We're interacting.
I'm still kind of stuck on the manna thing. I remember when I was doing some graduate work in the South. I'd never been to the South before. And I was eating in this restaurant, and I guess I wanted to try it. So they served me grits. And I'm thinking, that's like manna, right? So they serve the grits in a bowl, and so what do you do with it? Do you put jelly on it? You put syrup? You put salt? Like, what do you do with grits? Yep. I bet they were doing the exact same thing with the manna. They're trying to season it up.
Yeah.
somehow make it taste better.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty Californian. Grits are not like
Normal.
normal for us.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the first time I went to Scotland, and at like all their buffets, they serve oatmeal with scotch and a marmalade next to like the sausages and the beans and the tomatoes and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure my husband and I, like, for a month after we came back, like, brought the scotch out or the marmalade.
I never tried that with the grits.
But you know, there's a saying that nature gives eggs, but culture gives omelets. And that is this concept, right? I mean, the Lord, he didn't just give us, we talk about the Garden of Eden as if it was this perfect place. No, it was a place to then cultivate. It's beautiful and wonderful, but there was so much culture to bring and so much to do. There were so many omelets to be made. And that is this work. I think we should read Matthew. Let's read Matthew.
You think it's in there?
Yeah.
I'd like to see how we can kind of find that in Scripture.
So, let's see, Matthew 25. We start at verse 14. Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, their master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, "Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 5 more." Yeah, I'd be pretty excited too. The master was full of praise. "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." The servant who had received the 2 bags of silver came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest in. I have earned 2 more." The master said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I'll give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." Then the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, "Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back." But the master replied, "You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why did you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it." Then he ordered, "Take the money from the servant and give it to the one with 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into our outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth."
Yeah, it really does it does tease out this idea of us being actively involved, yet he's the one who's the provider. And in that passage, when it talks about the faithful servant who made more, that the Greek word there is kardino, and it actually means taking it to market. It means taking the thing you've been given.
Interesting.
And then investing it. And I was noticing too that the guy said he was afraid. It reminds me of Adam and Eve hiding in the garden because they were afraid. So it's this thing about being locked in this broken way of looking at the world instead of realizing that God wants to do it with you.
So faithfulness in this parable then there's a lot of things here, but really it has to do with taking it to market. Like, we have to actively steward. Stewardship does, I think, encompass the concept pretty well, but active stewardship, this is not passive. This is not just watching the money to make sure no one steals it, burying it in a hole. This is actively taking it to market, taking some risks. I mean, the master was so happy with those that took risks. He even wanted the one guy who buried it to at least put it in the bank, like at least have some semblance of wisdom about this. That makes me wonder, what are we sitting on? Like, what assets are we not stewarding actively? What Google Docs are sitting in our drive with important information or important ideas that we are just not taking to market? What dreams, what relationships, what time, money, of course. Like, there's so many things to actively steward, and what are we afraid of taking a risk with? It's actually just us being disobedient.
Yeah, that's powerful. A great story.